Good morning, ATD family. We are back again for another episode. Bill and I are hitting a record 3 weeks in a row, back to back episodes. We're excited about it. We're just happy to be back. We are getting close to the end of baseball season. We are in the final weeks of the dog days of summer. It is a fun time to be a baseball fan. We are going to start this week off as we always do. Baseball Bill, how are you doing on this beautiful Saturday?
I am doing good. You remind me of our good friend Lou Brown. You win one. We won one yesterday. We win one today. That's two in a row. We win one tomorrow. That's called a winning streak. It has happened before. So we're on a winning streak, ATD family. Let's make it happen.
We're going to keep trying to push that needle even further and make it a four-peat. 4 times in a row, we're going to try to make sure we connect. Bill, there was an incredible announcement made earlier this week. A 17-year veteran of the league has decided to call it quits. We here at TopFanRivalry and ATD want to send a big old congratulations out to the man Joey Votto out there in Cincinnati retiring. Bill, give me your thoughts on Joey V and what he meant to not only the Cincinnati Red fan base but to the league as a whole.
He was good. He was good. He's known for coming up in the clutch. He's known for a little bit of temper. He's known for that clip where the guy, gets in his way so he can't catch a foul ball. And Joey looks at him and grabs his jersey and shows him that he's a Reds fan and, you know, steals somebody's nachos and things like that. But he played the game to the fullest. He was really good. He actually said something on Twitter when he was driving to the ballpark when he got in the Uber. The Uber guy asked him, "Are you a player?" And he said no. And it was a weird feeling for him. So yeah.
When you look at what he's meant to that team for the well, really 16 years because he, for some reason, decided he wanted to do a stint in Toronto, which went nowhere. Um, Actually, I don't even think he played a game in Toronto. I think he only made it through the preseason with Toronto this year. But when you look at what he's meant to that city, he's really been, for so many years, the lifeblood of Cincinnati. Obviously the last couple of years have changed when it comes to other sports teams kind of more coming to fruition. But for a long time, what they had to rely on was Joey Votto.
Yes.
So now as there's this changing of the guard in Cincinnati, and you see Ellie De La Cruz becoming that face of the organization, do you see Joey staying involved with the Reds? Do you see him maybe moving into a coaching opportunity in the next couple of years after taking some time off? Where do you see Joey's next steps?
That's a good question. He called me yesterday. I sent him voicemail. Um, the I don't know. I the way that it kind of all went down this year, I think he might step away from the game for a year or two and just enjoy being not a player, not associated with it, being able to have the memories, readapt into what I'm going to call normal life, right? Where you're not on the road all the time or anything like that. And then I think from there, yes, I think he'll get a front office position in Cincinnati, player development, the assistant coaches, assistants, brothers, son-in-laws, cousin, or something like that, like they do with a lot of these players, right? Um, and does he go in and coach? Yeah, if he ever wants to coach, he's got a spot. Could I see him as a hitting coach in Cincinnati in the next 10 years? 100%. But he's going to start off in the front office with some title that you and I would look at and go, yeah, all right. What's that mean?
Right. Last question on this topic, because we got two more great topics to talk about before we
Mhm.
talk about what's going on around the diamond. Is Joey Votto Hall of Fame worthy or Hall of Great worthy
All are
or
very
Hall of
good.
Good worthy?
All are very good. His numbers do not stack up. I can give you 10 guys that have numbers like his that aren't in the Hall. Not to mention people like Don Mattingly, Steve Garvey, and others that have very good numbers. Joey's in, if there was a Hall of Very Good, Joey's in it. I just don't think Hall of Fame. Now, if he would have crossed 400 home runs, he would have hit another 44 home runs. It would have been a different conversation. But all very good. What do
Yeah.
you think?
You know, I agree. Joey Votto had an exceptional career. I mean, when you look at what he's done on the not only in these stats, but he was also a Golden Glove winner. He was an MVP. I mean, he was a legend of the game. But when you look at it overall, he just does not stack up against the best of the very best. He just unfortunately doesn't. And even with some of the players you mentioned that haven't made it to the Hall, they're just Hall of Very Good. He'd be in there 100%. Probably even be a first ballot guy on the Hall of Very Good. But when it comes to the Hall of Fame,
Dubious
just doesn't
honor.
have it. And in all honesty, I don't even think hitting 400 home runs would have even gotten him there. I don't. I think that would have maybe made his average 297, maybe 298. Would have pushed his slugging up to what, one, maybe 525. But even those numbers, I just don't see Hall of Fame worthy there. I think if the Reds had won the World Series with him being there, that I think would have put him in. But I just think with these numbers, even with the numbers that you said, still doesn't stack up, unfortunately. Unlike
Yeah.
the guy we're about to talk about, Bill. I mean, the guy that we're about to talk about, there is no question in my mind. This guy, this guy is going to be in the Hall of Fame. What do you think? I haven't even shown anyone who we're talking about, but you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah. Still early in his career, but 100%. He's on that path right now to be able to do it.
Congratulations, Mr. Shohei Ohtani, the sixth official member of the 40-40 club. Not only did Shohei Ohtani get 40 home runs and 40 stolen bases this year, he did it faster than anyone else in these top six in baseball ever.
Yeah.
Before Ohtani getting us, the fastest player ever to hit 40-40 was Alfonso Soriano in 2006. He did it in 147 games.
Mhm. Yep. Yep.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
Bill,
It's funny.
what?
I was having some conversations with some people. Oops, sorry, Sam. What were you saying?
I was going to say, like, what can't this guy do? Like, what can't he do?
Pitch right now.
Well,
I
okay.
mean, you know, so the I was talking to some people, you included, Sam. We had this conversation. The Dodgers have, I think, 33 games left. It's a very, very, very strong possibility that he can go 50-50. I mean, getting on base enough to steal 10 more bases is not going to be a big deal for him. The question is whether or not he can hit 10 more home runs.
I think where I also look at this is as we get closer to the end of the season and we get into, you know, the last month of the season, playoffs around the corner. You want your guys healthy. You want them at their peak performance level.
Mhm.
Do you see them maybe sitting Shohei a couple of more games to give him some rest? Do you see them, maybe being a little bit more cautious with him on the base path to not either overexert himself or risk a possible injury? Look, I get it. Everyone wants the stat, but I think Shohei wants the big thing more, and that's getting that World Series.
Yeah.
So, where do you see the Dodgers in the next month and a week with Shohei and ensuring that they're protecting him for October?
Yeah, I don't think you're going to slow him down. Remember, a DH is a DH. They're only on the field a couple of minutes a game, right? If he were playing third base or right field or wherever, I might maybe slow him down a bit. But he's a DH. The Dodgers only have a 4-game lead over the Diamondbacks with 33 left to play. Now, also too in that mix, that we haven't talked about is the wild card, right? And so currently the Dodgers hold the best record in the National League. Actually, I think the best record in baseball currently,
Yes.
but it's only
Currently, they
sep
hold the best record in baseball.
but it's only separated by a couple of games. So if Milwaukee gets hot, let's say, and the Dodgers get cold, but they still win the division, the Dodgers have to play in that first wild card round. If they end up being the third team, third division winner. So there's still a lot to play for, which is different. Sam, you talked about this a couple of weeks ago. It's different for the Dodgers this year because this time last year they were up by 12 or 13 games and they were just kind of in cruise control. Right now, I'm not worried about missing the playoffs. There's 33 games, and I think the Mets are the next team and they're a game and a half or 2.5 games out, something like that. So we've got, I don't know, 7-game lead with 33 left to play. We're going to make the playoffs. That's unless something goes drastically wrong. The question is where do we fit in? Do we want the wild card round or do we want the time off? And with all the injuries that the Dodgers have had, time off is key. Shohei is key to that. And I don't think that they're going to rest him all that much. Now, if we can clinch the division and clinch the last week and a half of the season, we clinch the division and we clinch a first round bye, Shohei might sit a game or two. He's having too much fun out there.
I agree with you, but something to keep in mind is who you guys have playing in the next month. So let's just look at who you guys finished this month off with. This month, you got two more. You got the Rays today. You got the Rays tomorrow. And then you got two back-to-back series that in the next month is going to be your toughest back-to-back series of probably the season. You
Yep.
got the Orioles,
Yep.
who are fighting for that number one spot in a 3-game set. And then you got a 4-game set against the team that you just mentioned that is 3.5 games out of first. Or 4.5 games out of first.
Or
Against the Arizona Diamondbacks.
yep. Albeit one of those games.
The Dodgers, in essence, need to sweep that entire thing to, in my opinion, ensure the division.
Yeah.
Because after that, you don't have the Dodgers you don't have the Diamondbacks anymore. You don't got the Giants anymore. However, you do got one more series against the Padres, and you got a series against the team that is notorious for ruining things for others. And that's the Colorado Rockies.
We have 2 series with them
Right. You have them sandwiched between the Padres.
to end the season.
So would you say, and this will be the last question I have on this before actually, you know what? Let's use this as our entryway into the next topic. As we go into the next topic, we look at the teams that are leading in their divisions currently. And this has been something that's been curious to my mind, and I'm excited to bring this topic to Bill. Bill, looking at the 6 teams we have in the division lead, what division leader is on the hot seat? And when I'm talking hot seat, I mean if they lose in the postseason this year, how does that set them up moving forward? Who has the most to lose by losing this postseason?
Um, I think there's an easy way to answer this and say there's 3 of the division leaders that are and 3 that aren't. The 3 that aren't, Milwaukee Cleveland, and Houston, believe it or not. Houston's been to 7 ALCSs in a row. If they don't make an ALCS this year, the fan base isn't going to go crazy. The fan base knows that they're getting older. The fan base will get nervous. They're not on the hot seat. If Philadelphia doesn't go all the way this year, the way that they exited the playoffs last season
And the
with
year before,
all,
and losing in the World Series the year before.
yeah, I mean, losing the World Series a year before, um, going to the AL or the NLCS last year, and only needing to win one game at home and getting beat twice by the Diamondbacks. You got that issue there, but mainly I would say it's the two-headed gorilla. You've got the Bronx Bombers and you got the 2024 World Champion Los Angeles Dodgers. Those two teams are on the hot seat right there. If the Dodgers don't speak into existence what I'm talking about, or have an early exit, first round exit, and the Yankees do, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
What does its which team loses more this offseason if they lose in this postseason?
Yankees. Yankees, because they have to sign this guy Juan Soto. Right now, the Dodgers have an embarrassment of riches. They showed a lot of young talent this year because of injuries, right? And they brought a lot of guys up. You got Mookie, you got Freddie, you got Will Smith, you've got Clayton Kershaw, you've got Tyler Glasnow, you've got Shohei, you've got Yamamoto. Those guys are all signed for next season. I mean,
Clayton signed for next year? I thought this was he only signed to 1 year.
who?
Clayton.
No, 2 years.
Oh, okay.
2 year
Oh,
worth 10
because
million.
last year will be because next year will be his final year. They'll give him his nice farewell tour across the stadiums.
Right. And so to answer that question, the only big one that the Dodgers really are trying to sign is Teoscar Hernandez, who has been fantastic. But if Teoscar doesn't sign, we've got 14 other outfielders that can come up. Andy Paez can come up. Like there's a number, James Outman, there's a number of good outfielders that come up. The Yankees are ride or die because Giancarlo, I can't find a jersey that fits me correctly. Stanton is doing nothing but getting older and making several trips here to the IL. Aaron Judge needs protection. And I think Anthony Rizzo's got one more season on his contract, but Ben Rice is right there going, hey, when's it my turn? So, Yankees. What about you?
When I look at these division leaders, the two that I feel are the most on the hot seat are actually the two in the East. I don't
Hmm.
even consider the Dodgers on the hot seat, and I'll tell you why. The Dodgers, I don't look at being on the hot seat because you have one player that is you are only getting half of what you paid him for this year. You're only getting half. You're only getting a half Ohtani. You don't have a pitching Ohtani, you have a hitting Ohtani. Now, your pitching has been exceptional and has been able to withstand not having Ohtani on the mound. But I would say the Dodgers are more on the hot seat next year when Ohtani is back. And if they can't make it with him DHing and pitching at the level he was pitching and hitting as an Angel, then I would say the Dodgers might be on the hot seat next year. But right now, when you look at I couldn't agree with you more on the Yankees. If they don't win it this year, they've still got Giancarlo Stanton for another, I don't even know. I think they still got him for like 4 more years.
Yeah, I think
They
so.
can't. They're too locked and loaded with Garrett Cole. They're too locked and loaded on Aaron Judge. They've still got Anthony Rizzo. They're gonna have to sign Volpe. They've got too many young guys they've got to bring up. They won't be able to afford the 500 to 700 to $650 million contract that Juan Soto is going to generate. They just can't afford it. They would be able to and get Juan to take maybe a slight discount if they win, but if they don't, there's no chance. And then if you look at the Phillies, they're all in. The Phillies at this point this year are all in. They've been all in all year, and if they don't make it with the lineup and the stack that they've got, I'm very scared to see them. I'm worried about who is going to be with that team moving into next year. They got a number of 1-year contracts that they were riding on from from people that left and decided they wanted to bring them back. But if they don't win, yeah, I would be very cautious to see the Phillies be at the top of the game next year,
Mm.
especially with the teams in that division that are going to be fully healthy in the 2025 season.
By the
So,
way, I just looked it up. Giancarlo Stanton has 4 more years with the Yankees to the tune of $111 million.
and Giancarlo, and he has a no trade clause in his contract unless he decides to waive it. And at the way that he is playing, he would be a fool to waive that contract. He would be a fool to waive his no trade clause because I don't think there's a team that would look at him and say, at his age, with his stats, I can't rely on it. I mean, look, he's got 22 home runs, 78 hits, and 324 at bats with 40 runs and 56 RBIs. I mean, that is as average of a player as you can afford, and he's not worth $100 million for 4 years. He's not.
Not
So,
anymore.
I think the Yankees looked at this trade a while ago and saying we feel this is gonna be great long term, and now they're looking at this saying we made a mistake, and now they have to they have to reap what they sow, because again they can't afford Juan Soto unless they win. So, you know, that's what I gotta say. Bill, you had some fun news you wanted to bring up to the
Yeah,
top.
let's talk about something for a second. So right now, as you're watching this, if you're watching this on YouTube, you're getting a great show. You're getting a Dodger fan, you're getting a Giants fan. It's a lot of fun. Now, typically I would say, which place the Giants were in right now, but Sam and I have agreed that maybe I beat that horse. So that horse has like gone into the stall and off we go, right?
Come
But
back next year. When next year comes around, Bill can bring the horse back out of the stall and put him back on the track. But
yeah, I'm
until
gonna put him
then,
back on the
you
track.
know where the Giants sit. It's not looking good. And I'm just looking forward to this postseason with Sparon being fired.
There you go. But what you need to do is you need to go into it right now, put pause on this video. Stop it, put pause on the video, open a new browser, go to TopFanRivalry.com, click onto the locker room. Go get yourself locker room access. It's $25 a year. If you use the code ATD, stands for obviously around the diamond, you'll get a 10% discount on the locker room. This is why you want to do this. This is a baseball community. This is going to expand to other sports, but we'll talk about that later. This is a baseball community. You want to be part of a community, it's $25 a year. What do you get for that? You get a goodie bag, first of all, for joining the locker room, but you get all kinds of fun stuff. You get discounts on merchandise, you get discounts on collectibles, you get discounts on events that we're doing. And we have events that are every month now on Zoom or in person. You don't want to miss those. Next month's Zoom locker room access only. The guest is amazing. He's absolutely freaking amazing. So you don't want to miss it. Anyways, stop what you're doing right now. Go to topfanrivalry.com. Click on that locker room button. Subscribe. It's 25 bucks. That's like when you guys go to Starbucks and you get your double whip, double shot of whatever it is with extra foam and whatever, and you look at your receipt and it's $8.50. That's 3 less coffees for you a year. I just saved you from having to embarrass yourself and going to Starbucks and take 27 minutes to make your order. Okay, I just saved you. I just gave you an hour and a half of your time back on 3 orders of Starbucks. You're welcome. It's 25 bucks. Use the code ATD. You're off to go. All right,
There
Sam,
we
what's our
go.
next topic?
Let's take a look at these standings. I'm taking the American League this week. Let's look at the AL East. Yankees are riding high leading that division, but they are getting but these Orioles, man, they are riding the coattails of these Yankees. They are so close It is going to be a dogfight in the AL East for who's going to win the division. Red Sox, though, don't count them out of that wild card just yet. They are fighting hard to get into it. Next week, we'll be bringing up the wild card, and we will be following that all the way through the rest of the season. Don't you worry, we will keep you up to date. Looking at the AL Central, though, as I said last week, and I'll say it again this week, it's the Royals division to lose. Bill and I had a great topic of conversation earlier before we started about Bobby Witt Jr. being the AL MVP, and I'm still riding high on that. I think he's going to lead these Royals to the AL Central Division Championship and win. Yeah, I see this being the Royals division, but the Guardians are keeping it close. And look at those Twins fighting hard to stay in contention. It's awesome to see. Taking it over to the West, this is probably the weakest division in. This is the weakest division in the American League, minus the White Sox, who we all know are terrible. Astros are just holding on to that lead because the Mariners have fallen off the face of the earth. They are trying to stay above water and hope they get a wild card, but it is not looking good on their end. Rangers, sorry, but see you next year. Angels, see you next year. And A's, we'll see you in whatever city you decide you want to play in. Bill, what do you think of the AL?
Well, first of all, we have a top fan rivalry sports desk correction to be made. In the AL West standings, the Angels are actually the ones with 54 and 75, not the A's, the Angels. The A's are actually not in last place, the Angels are. But I digress. I digress. Um,
Is it really that odd? I mean,
I
because
mean, listen,
they
you
both
know,
are terrible. They are both terrible. So I
they're
mean,
both terrible. They're both terrible. No, the Yankees are fun to watch. The Orioles have a tough schedule coming up. And they're playing their hearts out. They had a great win last night on a grand slam with uh, against the Astros. Red Sox, don't sleep on those guys. The Royals are going to win that division. You mark my words. The Astros, I listen, Sam, you and I have to talk offline at some point or ask why do you fire a manager with 5.5 weeks left to go? So that's my thoughts on the A.
well then, Bill, take me
Yeah.
to the National League, my friend.
Okay. Phillies, Braves. Braves are winning. Phillies have slowed down a little bit. They've caught a little bit of the dog day of summer-ish. The Mets are not metting. They are still there. They are having a good time. They're fighting for that wild card. The Brewers are leading that division by 47 games or something to that effect. But if you look at it, every team is either at 500 or below 500, so it's not hard. I wish that that were the National League West because the Dodgers would be up by 47 games. The Diamondbacks have taken over second place. They've got they're four behind the Dodgers. The Padres are 4.5 behind the Dodgers. The Colorado Rockies are playing for next season, and well, we don't need to mention where the Giants are at. We all can see it
Shockingly,
on the.
they're still 5 games out of the wild card, and they could magically still make it there. But from one Giants fan to all of them listening, I unfortunately don't see it happening. Don't send me a text. Don't email me. Don't Instagram message me.
Hold
I
on,
will
I'm gonna
file
message.
it. I will file it immediately in the bin where it doesn't lead to where it will live and exist for life.
Hold on, I'm putting a message together with Dennis and Mike right now. Hey fellas, tell. No, I'm just teasing. Anyways, your thoughts
Um,
on National League?
No, the National League is going to be fun to watch. I mean, in my opinion, compared to the American League, this division, this entire league, between the division leads, who I mean, in the Central and the East, I think we're pretty locked in on who's winning those divisions. While the Braves could still come back and win that. I don't see it happening. I also don't see the Mets doing it. I see this being the Phillies division to win. Um, and yeah, but I do see one of those two teams, the Braves or the Mets, making the wild card.
Correct.
Looking at the Central, Yeah, I mean the Brewers just hit a streak in the beginning of the year and just did not let anyone else catch up. They did what the Mariners needed to do in the beginning of this year, which is just bury everyone. They need to bury the Astros, and they didn't. And what happened? The Astros came back and now lead. When you look at what the Brewers did in the Central, they said, nope, we're going to take such a hot streak. We're not going to let anyone catch up. And they've done it. Cardinals are, just trying to fight to stay at 500 and possibly, not have a losing season. But I actually see this division having more losing records than winning records by the end of the year. And then looking in the West, it's a dogfight. It is a dogfight for first, and it's a dogfight for the wild card. I am telling you, if you're not watching what's happening in the National League West right now between the Dodgers, D-backs, Padres, and even the Giants, you are missing out on some great fun because the Giants are not going to make it easy.
Okay.
We're going to quickly just touch on how we will probably maybe hit the stolen base count from last year. I mean, Ellie De La Cruz is just doing amazing things. Shohei is now 40 for 40. We already talked about this. Bill, one question. Are we going to hit 40?
Yes.
Are we going to hit the number?
Yes. Yeah. Assuming that we stay on this pace right now that we're at, we might even bust it up by 200 or 300.
That's fair. What about home runs?
No, we're not gonna beat last year's total. But I mean, we got some guys that are. I mean, Asuna is looking good. So is Soto. So yeah, we got some guys. But no, we're not gonna beat that.
100%. 100%. Now, Bill, you put together an amazing podcast schedule this week. I like to call it Rookie Central
Yeah.
this week. Take me through who you got joining the clubhouse this week.
So Al's is joining. She's a Guardians fan. That was a great interview. Ashley, a Tigers fan. She's phenomenal. T Pat is on Wednesday. He is just going to be awesome. He has two sons that play professional baseball. Amori and then Chef Gary. It's going to be an awesome week. Chef Gary's been on the clubhouse before. Amora and T Pat and Ashley and else. None of them have. So it's going to be a great week. So we got Guardians represented, Tigers represented, Phillies, Padres, Cardinals, and we even got a AAA team in there this week. So it's a week.
It's going to be fun to watch this week's worth of podcasts. So if you have an opportunity as you're heading to work, throw on that Top Fan Rivalry podcast. Listen to the awesome, awesome fan base that Bill has been creating. And if you have a chance, jump on Instagram on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Bill puts on In the Leagues. Bill, who you got this week?
So Hector is on. He's one of our brand ambassadors. The Would You Rather guest is being confirmed. Megan's got one. Megan's got a great show planned for this Friday. I will tell you the Would You Rather guest, Sam, that we had on this week. Her name is Rachel. She's a huge Braves fan, and I got her stumped because I obviously asked her Chipper Andrew Jones, and she didn't like that. I asked her, I'm sorry, Glavin or Maddox. She didn't like that. But the one she didn't like the most, Willie Mays or Hank Aaron, because neither one of them ever deserves not to play. But when you're talking to a Braves, if I were talking to you, that's easy. It's Willie Mays, right? You're a Giants fan. But when you're talking to a Braves fan who Hank Aaron is their entire franchise, and I pitted her against, or I pitted, her against Willie Mays, yeah, it wasn't awesome. She struggled.
Those two guys are such legends of the game and have done so much for the sport that it's so hard to be like. It's not like you're saying Willie Mays or a player from today, because I would say
Alec
Willie
Bohm.
Mays. Yeah,
Right.
like you put Willie Mays up against any player today, you're picking Willie any day. You put Hank Aaron up against any player today, for the most part, you're picking Hank Aaron. But you put Hank Aaron and Willie Mays up one battle in that would you rather? Yeah, I would not be. I would probably be a little disturbed by that question.
He's like, both. I'm taking both. And I'm like, that's not the
Ah,
game.
yeah. But Bill, we thank you for everything you do for us. And as Bill said just a couple of minutes ago, if you're watching this on YouTube, after we finish up in about 30 seconds, you gotta head over to TopFanRivalry.com. Make sure you sign up. Use the code ATD in all capital letters. It will get you 10% off your annual membership to the locker room, where you will get a boatload of new articles, new podcasts, new merch. You can join the t-shirt club, get awesome shirts like this, custom from Top Fan Rivalry. You do not want to miss out. One like what Bill is wearing. Man, this is such an amazing community, and believe me, if you are a sports fan, what is to come is going to be even more incredible. So, Bill, any final words for the fans out there?
Go if I win.
Go fight, win, sending us off as you always do. Thank you so much, ATD family, for joining us this week on another episode. We will see you back on the field next week. Have a great rest of your weekend.